The US-Taliban agreement brings new worries for Afghan women activists. They say the deal to end the war in Afghanistan does not protect their rights.
I think that the US-Taliban deal mostly reflects the US and the Taliban's interests rather than the rights of the Afghan government and the people, in particular women.
The US-Taliban agreement has paved the way for an intra-Afghan dialogue. In those negotiations, the Afghan government wants to get concrete commitments from the Taliban to protect women's rights.
The hope is that the Afghan government and the hopefully inclusive delegation that they bring to the Taliban, to the table with the Taliban, will negotiate a political agreement that will protect women's rights. The Taliban has indicated that they will protect women's rights to education and to work.
At the same time, the Taliban has warned against mingling between men and women. That has raised fears about freedom of movement and women's social and political engagement.
Under
the Taliban regime, no women or girls had the right to go to school. Therefore, we are afraid that the Taliban comeback can cause us to lose our right to get an education.
State Department spokeswoman Morgan Ortagus rejects criticism that the United States has not prioritized women's rights in its talks with the Taliban.
Every single time that Secretary Pompeo has spoken about this peace deal with the Taliban and moving forward towards political resolution in Afghanistan, every time he's talked about this, he's talked about women's rights. He's talked about the fact that the Taliban have to sit down with the government of Afghanistan. They've committed to this with women, with civil society. And so we are making sure we are giving every effort to make sure that all voices are heard in intra-Afghan dialogue.
There are other tools Washington can use to pressure the Taliban, says analyst Jamille Bigio. What will be key, she says, is that the intra-Afghan negotiated deal includes conditions.
We must ensure that there is conditionality, that what the Taliban agrees to on women's rights, that if they aren't fulfilling these terms, that the Afghan government or and others will be able to back off other agreements and other terms that they have agreed to within the political settlement.
When it comes to women's rights, adds Bigio, it will be up to Afghan women to take the lead by putting pressure on their government and raising their voice at the negotiating table. Ardita Dunellari, VOA News, Washington.